What's up, guys? Ryan with Jedha Patrol back. Another video today. Iron Man Mark 1 3.0 diecast version from Hot Toys. Let's check it out. May 2nd, 2008. I don't know if you remember where you were. If you do, let me know in the comment section down below, but I know where I was. I was sitting in a theater. Not in the front row, because then you got to look straight up, and that's not comfortable for anybody. But in 2008, I don't even think, was IMAX around in I don't think IMAX was around 2008. But 2008, May 2nd, Iron Man jumped onto the screen, kicking off the MCU in just ridiculous fashion. It was flipping amazing. Absolutely amazing. And since then, we've had 20 some odd films. We've had 2,000 some odd figures from Hot Toys, a lot of which are Iron Man figures, rightfully so, House Party Protocol and all that kind of stuff. A lot of them have been reissues. We saw the Mark V reissue. We saw the War Machine Mark I reissued. We got a new Mark VI. That's not really a reissue. It's kind of a 2.0, I guess, if you will. That's what they're calling it, I think. We've had the Iron Man Mark I, and then the Iron Man Mark I 2.0, and then finally a 3.0, which is the diecast version we're going to look at today. And out of all those Iron Man releases, like I have some favorites. The Midas, I like that one. The Mark VII, you guys know I like that one. The Illusion Iron Man from the Spider-Man movie, not so much. That one, not so much on that one. But the Mark V, and then the Mark V Suit-Up, which I just reviewed. You can check that out up there. Beautiful figures, right? So Hot Toys goes, hey, look, the Iron Man Mark I 2.0 is climbing up in price. Here's our opportunity to get some more money for our own selves, and we can reissue this, and we can do diecast. And everybody was like, I remember me. When they first announced it, I probably got to go back and watch that video on 6 Scale News when they first announced the thing. I was pretty excited about it. Didn't really know what to expect. I have seen the plastic 2.0 version. In fact, I saw it recently. I did not buy it. But I had high expectations for this one. And having seen this one and having seen the 2.0 plastic version of this, they're eerily similar. A lot. And I will spoil this. I have already unboxed this and just been messing around with it for a couple days, just because I was excited about it, right? And sometimes the unboxing experience is for me. And that's what this was. But I do have it here. I do have the box here. If you want to get one of these, they're in stock with Pop Collectibles. That's where I got mine. There's a link in the description below if you want to pick them up there. And if you don't, that's okay too. But I do have the box here, and it is a different style box that we saw with the previous Iron Man Mark I 2.0. It's different. This is your typical Iron Man box. It's the same size as an Iron Man box. It's got nice artwork here. It's got styrofoam and whatever. Who really cares about a stinking box? It'll go in the storage building and I'll never see it again. But I do have the figure here, and it is quite nice. It really is. There are some areas of opportunity that were missed, for sure. Absolutely with that. However, I think this is a piece that you collect for the nostalgia of the films and for it's the MCU, the birth of the MCU. I think you get it for that reason, not for the crazy posability, because let's be honest with you, in the film, he didn't really do a whole lot. He did have this like magic thing going on with the face where these giant eye holes and everything, like he could not get hit by fire in his face. I thought that was a little weird. And bullets magically only hit the armored parts, but that's film. That's how that goes, right? But I think you get this for the nostalgia of the film, and you get it to have either the Hall of Armor, which I do think, and this is just me speculating 100%. I do think they'll reissue the Hall of Armor, and hopefully in a USB-C and a daisy chain situation. That would be kind of nice. I hope. I mean, I see no reason why they wouldn't do that. But this would be like in preparation for the Hall of Armor. We got the Mark I, obviously. We do need a reissue of the Mark II. Please, Hot Toys, hook us up with that. Mark II. We're getting the Mark III. We're getting the Mark IV. We got the Mark V. We're getting a new Mark VI. The Mark VII was MMS 500, which surprisingly, this is MMS, what is it, 600? I can't remember. I know the Mark VI was 700. Anyways, is it 600? Now I'm curious. What the hell is on the box? 605. I was close. 600 had to be an Iron Man figure. But we got this guy, and he doesn't come with a whole lot, and I think that's just fine. It's not going to be crazy posable. I think that's just fine. I think what you get it for is just the nostalgia of it. So let's talk about this figure for a little bit. It does come with some accessories, not a whole lot, right? We can take a look at some of the accessories. We get this nice display stand, which reminds me of the ramp from the Justice League setup. It's very similar to that. In fact, it's probably exactly the same, just with an Iron Man logo on it instead of, Justice League or whatever. It's been a minute since I've had one of those figures, but this looks very similar to that. It does say Mark 1, which is nice. And you get this other stand. If you don't want to use this giant stand, which is about 2 inches tall, you can use this stand, which I don't particularly like this one, with the Stark Industries rocket in there, which I can only assume is like a Jericho missile rocket deal going on, an ammo box and whatnot. It's okay, but the nature of it being not flat, and I don't know. It's okay. It's not my favorite. We'll see if we can do something with it. I do have the special edition, so I do get a die-cast additional helmet, which is not wearable. The instructions are specific about that. Not wearable, but it is die-cast, and it is it's like, I don't know. It's not like stainless steel or anything. It's just some kind of pot metal, I would imagine. But it's okay. It's not bad. It's an accessory piece. I think will be good if you're having a Tony Stark or a Hall of Armor or some kind of build. This would be a nice little piece to have in the background. I kind of dig that. You get a couple hands. You get 2 fisted hands which come on the figure, and then you get 2, relaxed hands, if you will, that all have armor plating. I'm sorry, the left hands have the armor plating. The right hands don't. The left hands have the armor plating on there. Nice weathering going on, and they're just gloves. So there's really nothing special about those. And then you get these 2 flame effects, which are nice. They appear to be a little less vibrant than the Mandalorian flame effects. They don't have that bluing on there, and they don't have that bright. They just look a little less vibrant, which again is fine. They're okay. They attach over the wrist, and they're okay. It's really not about that. We're talking about the figure. So the figure has got some weight to it. It is die-cast, and I would say a decent amount of it is die-cast. So definitely the thigh armor is going to be die-cast. The chest plate's die-cast. The shoulder armor is die-cast. The helmet is die-cast. The forearm on the right arm is definitely not die-cast. That's all plastic. The forearm on the left arm is definitely not die-cast. And then let's see what else. The shin armor on the right leg is die-cast, and really, maybe the bottom of the feet, like the feet plate, if you will, that's going to be die-cast. Anything on the back? Yeah, the back of the thighs, and again, just the torso and whatnot. So that's your die-cast. So it's a decent amount of die-cast, and it's a thick iron, or thick. I say iron because Iron Man. It's a thick metal. So it's got some weight to it. It does feel solid. I don't think this thing will fall over. If you, even if it wanted to, I don't think it'll fall over. It's pretty well built for stability. I really don't think you're going to have too much issue with that. There are some movable parts. Obviously, you got a helmet that will open up and show the Tony Stark head sculpt, which is eerily just strange because it's exactly like the 2.0 we saw earlier that they repainted, which is fine. But this is essentially the exact same figure we got. Very similar, right? They've made some improvements, but it's very similar. If you've got the 2.0, do you need this one? Yeah, probably. I mean, just because, why not? But the weird part is just like this whole half head thing they got going on. And I get it. I understand it's like an illusion of CGI and the whole thing. But the half head thing's a little weird. The paint application on the new head sculpt the old head sculpt is okay. It is much better than the previous version, no doubt about that. I do not like that he's got the little hinge thing on the top of his head for the helmet to come in down and up. But there's probably like a 5% of the time I'd actually have the helmet up and I wouldn't have the helmet down, just showing the helmet, because I just think it's cooler that way. Nice paint applications pretty much all around. You've got some Stark Industries logos and stuff going around the back. You've got the camo paint going around, just weathering and damage, and it doesn't look perfect as it is not supposed to be. Nice little gas cans going on here, or some kind of, I don't know if it's hydrant, whatever this would be for his flamethrowing effect. He's got over here. And it's nicely done. Range of motion wise, I mean, it's got a ball joint at the neck, so it's got decent range of motion there. You got some nice leathering material underneath, or it's really cloth actually, but you got that. It looks okay, right? And the range of motion on the shoulders is not all that fantastic, and the range of motion on the arms is not all that fantastic. You get about 90 degrees, right? You get a little bit of lateral movement, not a whole lot. You get about, I don't know, it says in the instruction 40 degrees. I didn't measure it, but it's probably that. It doesn't go up a whole lot. There is a ball joint on that shoulder, and you can move it, but you want to make sure you don't run into the wires and whatnot, right? You don't want to damage this. This is something that's going to stand here and be, what's the word for it? I don't know where the pose is going to end up with this, but I don't think it's going to be super dynamic just because of the limited range of motion. There is a little bit of torso movement, you know, if you want, on the upper torso above the belt. There's a little bit of movement. There's a little bit of front and back, but again, not a whole lot. And then on the legs, you got about 90 degrees. So not the most range of motion, and that's okay. Again, this is purely for shelf presence. This isn't for being amazing. If you wanted ridiculous shelf presence, check out my video on the Captain America Sam Wilson cap thing with the wings. That thing's insane. You can't see it, but it's freaking glorious. It does have a Usbc function, which is very nice. It's right underneath this canister on the back of the figure, and there is a button on the back. You just press that down, and it winds up. The motor turns and makes this little whizzing sound. It's actually pretty cool. It would be super annoying to have on all the time, so I don't think I'll have mine on with like a fusion reactor or anything like that, or even just plugged in USB-C. I just don't see that because that would just be freaking annoying. The back plate on it is, there's a little bit of range of motion on the back plate. I guess if he had to excavate or evacuate. Yeah, if he had to evacuate. Yeah, I think that would be the better word for it. Anyways, if you had to evacuate out of the back, that's a Star Trek term, I think. But anyways, it's okay. So I like this thing. The one thing I do have a little bit of a problem with is how it's going to look next to other Iron Men on the shelf. So let me get these guys out of the way for a second. I have the Mark V right here. So for size comparisons, you guys can see this, the Mark V right here. The Mark V is a good 3/4 of an inch taller. It's taller. You can see it right here in the torso region. It's got much longer, elongated torso. The Mark V was a sleek suit, right? It's beautiful. Short, stubby legs here, where here he's got some legs. Now, I don't know if in the Mark V and the future other figures or suits, he's wearing lifts. I don't know if that's a thing. But clearly the Mark I 3.0, they did not address the scale to match the rest of the suits. That might bother some people. It kind of bugs me a little bit because they had years to correct that problem, and they chose not to. So Hot Toys, that sucks. Like, just, you should have fixed that. But it's fine. What you're gonna do is what it is. But let's put this thing in a couple poses, see what we think about it, and see what it might actually look like on the shelf. All right, so there is a 0% chance of me ever using those flame effects. The design on those flame effects, the way you're supposed to pull the hand off and then slip those over the wrist, kind of like a bracelet, and then put the hand back onto the peg. Absolute nightmare. The gauntlets armor on this thing, on the right arm, there's one piece that slides up and down. You see in the instructions, it slides like 2 millimeters. It's crazy. And to put that on there and then try to get that wrist peg on there, you're going to break something. I mean, it's not worth the effort. So, I'm not going to bother. I wouldn't display them that way anyways in my own personal collection because the flame effects just, don't do it for me pretty much on any figure. But this is probably how I'm going to end up with mine. Like I said, I'll probably have the helmet down, but I wanted somebody to see, you guys see the head sculpt. I don't think I'm going to use the other base that it comes with. I just don't like it, so I'll probably just stick it back in the box. And this one's okay, and I might not even use this base. But the figure itself, I like. Again, for nostalgia purposes, that's it. The noise the motor makes, as awesome as the functionality of it is, the practicality of it is about 5% use, because once you hear, well, you probably heard it in the sound already. There's no way anybody's going to leave that thing on. It's cool. It's a nice novelty, but I wish it would have been a separate button for the lights, because I would have left the lights on and not the motor. But from what I can see, there's not a way to have one and not the other, which is unfortunate. So that kind of sucks. But I do, we're not going to do an extensive posing session with this thing for obvious reasons, but I do want to bring out some other pieces just for comparison for you guys so you can see what it might look like in your collection. So I decided to break out 3 of my favorite suits from the MCU. We've got the Mark 7 and the Mark 46. I dig these. And this is the Mark 46 reissue one with the cool base, which has Sam Wilson, Falcon, Captain America guy on it right this second. But the Mark 7 with all the battle damage pieces. They're just great. So you can see the size difference on these guys. The Mark 7 definitely stands taller. Again, might bug somebody, might not. I don't know. So the verdict on this particular piece is you got to have it. I mean, there's no reason not to get this. Will they make 4 gazillion of these? Yeah, they probably will. They probably made 4 gazillion of these guys, and there'll probably be no shortage of them. But regardless of that, I would pick it up. It's not perfect, but again, the only reason to get this, I think, huge Iron Man fan, comic fan, I think it makes sense in the comics as well if you go back way, 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 way back. And it's nostalgia. It's good reason to get it. If you want to pick one up, they're in stock at Pop Collectibles. You can check them out in the description below if you like. As always, collect what you like. See you next time.